Hi everybody, Elizabeth here with Country Peony. I'm so excited that you're joining me here today, and welcome to episode 3 of Coffee and Crafting. And so I like to have a cup of coffee after my lunch, and I like to continue crafting. And this is a very informal conversation. I'm gonna highlight some of my favorite things, and then we're gonna talk about, we're gonna do a fun craft together. So again, thank you for joining me. I'd love to hear where you're coming from, and if you have any questions, it's super informal, just let me know. Let's first off by saying happy Labor Day. I'm so happy to have you here on this Labor Day. I'd love to hear what you're doing, if you're decorating for fall, or if you are crafting, or if you're just spending time with family. Just let me know where you're coming from. And speaking of Labor Day, there's some incredible Labor Day sales going on. And so instead of highlighting 3 of my favorite products, I thought it'd be fun to showcase 3 of my favorite sales that are happening now. And if you want to reference any of these sales, don't worry, I put them in the description below, so you can check that out. So the first sale I wanted to talk about is one of my favorite companies. Is called Rifle Paper Company. And the reason that I love them is because their designs are super colorful and super whimsical, exactly how I like to decorate and how I like to craft. And so their items come from anywhere from your home decor to your office supplies. They even have rugs and wallpaper, shoes. I have some of their shoes. But all of their items today are 25% off, and I put the website down below if you want to check them out. And then another company that I really, really like is having another big sale today. So aside from my crafting, one of the number 1 questions I get asked is, where do I get my dresses from? And Style Your Senses, Shop Style Your Senses is a company. I'd say about 80% of my closet is now Shop Style Your Senses, and they are having a 40% off sale for Labor Day. And again, you can see their website down below, but I love their items. This is actually from Shop Style Your Senses. It's just a really fun and colorful company with wardrobe options, and it's a great company, so check them out. And then the last thing that I'm really excited about is I wanted to talk about my Needle Felting 101 course. So it's 50% off this week for Labor Day. If you use the code LABORDAY at checkout, you can get 50% off my course. And it is essentially a beginner course for needle felting. It is so much fun. The reason why I made it is because a lot of people came to me and said, Elizabeth, needle felting, that looks too hard. I don't even know where to start. And I get it. And so I'm hopeful that this course will inspire you just to get started and empower you to start making your own needle felted projects. So my course, again, is 50% off this week. So it will take it down to $33.50. And you will get over 27 lessons, and you will also get over an hour of video content. I'm hopeful that it will inspire you just to start your needle felting journey and to start the process, because it's been so much fun. It's been so therapeutic. It's such a wonderful way to fill up an afternoon or an evening of crafting. So those are the 3 sales that I've been checking out. I've had my eye on some products from those companies, and I am excited to look at them this afternoon. So again, if you have any questions, let me know. This is Coffee and Crafting. I'm Elizabeth, and I started Country Peony over 10 years ago to really inspire myself and others to create and have fun along the way. I focus on really simple and inexpensive crafting projects and whimsical projects, because I want to have a little bit of fun along the way. And so I use color in my design, and I just try to keep it really simple just to get you started. So then hopefully you can build up from there. Okay, so today's craft, I thought it'd be fun to make a heart, a felted heart. So I've made this before on the blog and even in some lives, but I think it's a really fun way to get started in your needle felting journey, just because it's so incredibly simple. And I feel like sometimes the hardest part is just getting started. And once you get started, once you see how simple and fun it is, it just keeps you going. So I made these, this is part of the course. The course you've got, I mentioned 27 different lessons. And in some of those lessons, you actually learn how to create projects. And so these felted hearts are a project that I made for the course. And so we're going to be doing something similar today, but except we're just making the felted heart itself. And so the great thing about needle felting too is you don't need a lot of tools to get started. It's not that expensive. And so for today, we are going to start with a stencil. You can also just use a cookie cutter. I like to use little shortcuts. It makes it easier. It makes it really fun. Speaking of cookie cutters, if you like to go thrifting like me, I highly recommend you going to thrift stores and finding cookie cutters, especially really fun ones. And hello from Livingston and Carrollton, Texas. So happy to have you here. I did not mention, but I actually the studio is near LaGrange, Texas. It's in Central Texas. So happy to have you fellow Texans here. And wherever you're coming from, I'd love to hear, because it's always so fun to see where people come from. Okay, so today we're making a felted heart. And what can you do with that felted heart? Well, you can turn it into an earring. You can turn it into a fun wreath like I did here. I also linked this tutorial below. You can turn it into hairpins, present toppers, whatever. And the beauty with this is you start making these and you can make these amazing handmade gifts for the holidays for your friends. So I mentioned we're going to start with a stencil or a cookie cutter. Today we're just going to use a simple stencil, and I've linked these products below on my Amazon storefront. I've got my favorite needle felting tools there if you want to check it out. So we've got our stencil, and then we've got our mat. So this is a brush mat, and this is what I prefer to use. I know you've got foam and you've got other options. This one, I just prefer to use it. And then for today's project, all we need is a pen style needle felting tool. This is by Clover. I work with Clover a lot, and I love their tools. And I thank Clover for getting me started with needle felting because their products make it so simple. So you're going to start off with, the first thing is, before every project, I like to clean my mat. And I've got this fabulous mat cleaner. And so I'm going to just take this and push it down to get all the fibers from my previous project out of there, in case I didn't. So I still had some in there, which is important because this is a white that I was working with before. And I want to use this really vibrant fuchsia today. And if I mix the colors, it's not going to be as pretty. So I cleaned my mat, and now I'm going to prepare my pen style needle felting tool. So I'm going to take off the cap, and I'm going to remove the top part. And then this tool comes with a really cool guard. So I'm just going to attach it and twist it on there. As you see, the beauty with this is this guard helps protect your fingers. And this is as far then as you can go into your mat. Okay, so I've got my pen style needle felting tool ready. I've got my mat ready. We're going to set these aside. And then we're going to take our wool. I've got a bunch of fun wool roving back here that likes to inspire my color palette and my projects. But today we're just going to go with the fuchsia. And when you're pulling your wool apart, it's important not to cut it. You just kind of pull it apart like this. And that allows, whenever you are piercing the wool fibers together, for a seamless look. Because sometimes if you cut it, it's a real crisp look and it doesn't always blend well. So from here, I'm just separating the fibers so that when I do pierce them down, they work well together. Okay, so for every project, I recommend starting with a small amount first and then building, because you can always add to, but it's really hard to take away. And so today we're going to be making, I'm actually going to use this cookie cutter because it's really simple and fun. And who doesn't have a heart cookie cutter in their arsenal? I mean, they're really fun. Okay, so we're just going to place the cookie cutter on top, and let me move this down a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so we're just going to place this cookie cutter down, And then we're gonna take our wool fibers and we're going to place them inside the cookie cutter. It's as simple as that. And then from here, we're going to use our pen style needle felting tool and we're gonna pierce the ends of the cookie cutter. So we're gonna create a nice crisp line before we work on the inside. And just being real careful not to put your finger near the needles. These needles are very sharp. This tool uses 3 needles and the way it works is they have barbs on them and they will pierce your finger. I've had that happen to me because I wasn't paying attention and it hurts. So just working around, making sure you don't pierce the cookie cutter itself because you might break your needles. And I always have needles on standby in case one breaks during a project, because that's really frustrating when you're working on a project and your needle breaks and you don't have a replacement. So do you hear that? It is so beautiful. It's so therapeutic. It's so much fun. And if you are just tuning in, I am making a felted heart that you can use to embellish all kinds of things. You can make an earring, you can make a wreath that you see behind me, all kinds of really fun things. And so all I'm doing now is I'm just piercing the wool together with my needle felting tool. And if you are interested in needle felting, shoot me a message. I'd love to tell you more about it. I also have a course that's 50% off now. It's called Needle Felting 101. And I would love for you to join me in it because it's so much fun. Needle felting is so much fun. It's also really great craft to do when the weather starts to cool down. Just putting on a nice candle, a nice Hallmark movie, and needle felting. Okay, so let me show you. It's starting to pierce down, but we've got some gaps up here, so I'm gonna add a little bit more roving wool. And with this, I like to go with 100% wool. You can purchase it on Amazon, you can purchase it at your local craft store. I also, in the course, have several places that I like to get it online. I give you several examples of where to find it. The possibilities are endless with the colors, and it's really fun. Okay, so you're just gonna keep piercing, making that fun sound. And then when you think you've pierced enough on this side, you're going to, I like to rotate it to the other side so you can see this side hasn't even been pierced yet. This side has. You can see the difference between the two. And then you're gonna pierce on the other side. Again, you're gonna go around the outside first to create your nice, crisp line, and then you're gonna work on the inside. And sometimes it pops out and that's okay. The only thing I precaution you with is to make sure you keep your fingers out of the way. There are finger guards that you can purchase. I don't personally use them just because I think they get in the way. But if you want to be extra careful, feel free. I've linked some in my Amazon page as well, if you want to check that out. And again, I have a lot of tutorials for needle felting on my website, countrypeony.com. If you have any questions about this craft. I started needle felting about 3 years ago and I was hooked. I'm so inspired by vintage crafts and vintage design, and that's really what drew me to needle felting because it's got a really vintage inspired feel, which I think is so beautiful. And I wanted to share that with everybody because it's such an old art form, but it's also can be very modern with the colors that you use and the styles that you use. So if you are all interested in needle felting, send me a message or visit my course below because it is 50% off right now. Okay, so I've pierced the other side and we're gonna do the same exact thing. This is the piercing, and now I'm gonna continue just to go back and forth. And as with any craft, it's really up to you. You can do it for as long as you want, or you can stop for a fluffier feel, whatever your heart desires. And in the course, I show you, again, how to make these felted earrings, also how to make an ornament for Christmas, and also how to make a felted floral bouquet using wire and wool. So this is my second pass through on this side. It's starting to look really good. And now I'm just gonna go to the other side again. I love this art form because it's so therapeutic. I love the materials that you work with. I also love the sound. The sound of that piercing needle felting is so fun. I created a reel last week with the sounds of needle felting, and I just think it's really fun. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the other side one more time, and then I think it's ready for its debut. Okay. Again, I try to keep most of these episodes under 20 minutes, but you can continue to play with it and really work on the style of it. But here it is. Look how cute that is. I think it's adorable. So then you can also turn this into a cute little pin, a brooch. Brooches are really in now. You can turn it into a hairpin. These earrings might be a little big, but I mean, hey, you do you, it's fun. And so with projects like this that I want to give a little bit more definition to, I like to take my felting needles and kind of use them to manipulate the wool a little bit more. But before I do that, I'm going to close my felting tool because I don't want to pierce myself. And sometimes my children come into the studio, especially after these lives, and I don't want them to get hurt. Okay, so I set this aside. And then I'm gonna take my extra needles that I have, and I'm just gonna be very, very careful. It might be helpful to wear your needle guards, your finger guards now, but all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take, and making sure I don't pierce myself, I'm just gonna go through the middle just to kind of create a little bit more definition on the inside. And all I'm doing is just making sure that the inside of that heart is really crisp and defined. I'm not really piercing like I did or doing the stabbing effect with this part because I don't want to hurt myself, but it just gives it a little bit more definition. So cool, right? So the cool thing with this is that you can build on this. You can build a bunch more hearts. You can make a wreath like this. But you can also use whatever colors you want. I've done the fun marbling effect, like you see here. I've also done where you can do stripes on there to create a fun interest. It's really up to you. But this took me less than 10 minutes to make, and it's really fun. Again, I told you, needle felting has brought me so much joy, and I really just want to share that with everybody. So here is my felted heart. I hope this inspires you, whether or not you try needle felting. It inspires you just to try something fun today. Whether that means going into kitchen and making some sourdough bread, which I've been dreaming about for years, or going on a walk and getting inspired. I think that's what it's all about, just the process and having so much fun. So again, my needle felting 101 course is for beginners. I teach you the basics of what you need to get started, and then I hope to empower you to start creating your own needle felted projects. It's so much fun, and I really appreciate those of you who have already purchased the course. I love hearing from you and how it's inspired your needle felting journey. If you have any questions about the course, let me know, but it is currently 50% off, taking it to $33.50 for the week. And so I have it linked below in the description if you want to check it out. And thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you next Monday at noon on Central Standard Time here on Facebook. Again, my name's Elizabeth with Country Peony, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Labor Day, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you so much, guys.